Hey there, hello, hello. I'm ready to talk about some shit today. Let's get going. Thank you for being here. Hey, Ninja. Yes, well, it's definitely not meritocratic, let's say. Or put it this way, we're going to try to figure out the meritocracy behind it today. So, I want to do this episode. I have a whole series, I have a whole playlist where I identify DEI ideology embedded in state, federal policy. It's not in the federal policy anymore, thanks to DJT, but it is still in the Washington state policy because they're woke as hell up here and they believe all kind of crazy stuff about racism and minorities and white supremacy. It's encoded in the official state documents. And I bumped up against some of it myself when I was accessing a process with the state that I'm thinking about doing. Hey, Zins, some cultist nonsense. Yeah, I guess it is kind of culty. It's belief based, not empirical. It's not well, we'll get into all that because they try to pretend like it is empirical. So, Washington State, the state itself, the state government, they contract with different firms, entities, organizations, small businesses, individuals for whatever their needs are. And they put out these, they're called requests for proposals. So they have, and businesses like mine can submit, can respond to these requests and submit a proposal to be considered for whatever it is they're contracting for. Well, recently, it's called the State of Washington Criminal Justice Training Commission. I'll show you the request for proposal so you can see what one looks like. So this department right here, Wellness Task Force, they are putting out a request for proposals for peer support services. One of my dream jobs is, and in fact, the job I had just before COVID, I did a little bit of this. I talked about meeting with one of the precincts here in Seattle and doing autism and mental health education for for their staff, so that when they are out there policing and they run into people like me or people with mental health challenges, they can distinguish it from actual suspicious criminal behavior. I have been saying forever that I think first responders, police, mainly police, uh, are very underserved. They don't get the support they need. They do not get the mental health support they need to help them do their jobs. And one of my goals in the peer support I do, and one of my personal missions, is to bring peer support to the working class, to people that are keeping civilization going, doing all of the hard work to keep the civilization going. And I want to make sure they get the support they need to do that. That includes cops, that includes first responders, firefighters, 911, medical personnel, all of that. I would love to be one of the people that help bring peer support to the police force to make sure they're getting the right kind of peer support that they need, and not some feminized woke bullshit version of peer support that they're not even going to respond to, even though they are first responders. And so quality peer support and an adequate amount of it, and the kind that empowers them to continue to do their job, and not the kind that is coming out of the training programs at academies currently. Like, remember we talked to Suzanne the other day and she told us a little bit about some of it. So I would be perfect for this. I at least think I deserve to be considered as a candidate for it. I would like a fair hear. I would like to make my pitch and have it fairly heard on why I should be considered as the person to do this service that they need doing. Well, let's look at it a little bit more. Uh, they're for the purpose of for skilled and qualified entities interesting in working collaboratively with the first responder wellness task force created by, these are our official state rules, kind of like our law, our state laws. There's there's, it's complicated. The RCW is one half of the body of state law, kind of, to develop model policies for peer support services for first responders in Washington State. Look at the qualifications. Have expertise in peer emotional support. I have that. I've been doing that for over 10 years now. I do it every day on this channel. And peer workforce development. I was working, I did some contract work the last few years for the department that certifies peer workers, that adds new peers to the workforce. So I even have some of this peer workforce development. All right, let's look at their evaluation process. It's very bureaucratic, very Washington State. They have this point system that they evaluate people that submit bids on. Here it is. Here we go. They will use the following process and evaluation criteria for an award of the contract. So this is what they're going to use to determine who they ultimately award the contract to. Responsiveness is just, do you have all of the proposal submitted exactly like they want you to submit it? Is everything there? Did you submit the proposal correctly? And that's going to be pass or fail. Either you did or did not. Then, non-cost factors, cost factors. I would love to know more about what these factors are, but they make up the bulk of the points. Are you going to be affordable? Oh, what's this? Oh, never mind. And whatever other factors they look for. References. So far, so good. I think I could provide decent instances of all of this that they're looking for to satisfy this 320 point total. Okay, then look at these state procurement priorities. They want to prioritize small businesses, so they give you 20 points if you're a small business, which I am. And there's a legal definition of small business here in Washington State. It's a certain number of employees, etc. I'm a sole proprietor. So you're either a small business or you're not. If you are, 20 more points. Look at this. If you're a veteran-owned business, 10 more points. Look at the next one. Minority or women-owned business, 10 points. So women-owned, if you're a woman owning a business, automatic 10 points. If you're a male owning a business, no points. So in the event, leaving out the minority part, in the event of a tie, if you have equal points on every other category to everybody else, the woman is going to get it over the man by this system. Or the minority, and we'll look at what a minority is here in Washington State. Executive Order 1803 is, you know how if you take a job sometimes, they have you sign arbitration clauses, like if you have a problem with your employer, you can't sue them, you have to go to arbitration instead. Well, Washington State has this executive order saying that employees are not supposed to do that. And so if you're a business that agrees to not make employees sign this arbitration agreement, then you get 10 points as well. Now the veteran thing, some people could make the case that that's kind of an unfair advantage for veterans. What's different about that? Like why is that okay and minority not? I don't necessarily have a problem with the veterans advantage. If it's a tie and a veteran owned business is applying and I'm applying, and they say your scores are all equal, but because this person's a veteran, we're going to give the contract to them. That status is earned. That status is achieved. That status is awarded to you based on merit, based on choices you've made to enter the service and the effort that you put into your service. So That's more justified to me than giving it to somebody just because of a demographic characteristic that they had no they were born with and had no control over. That seems like sexism and racism, which is exactly what it is. All right. This is the part I want to show you. I want you to see that this shit is in there. When I complain about Washington State and how it is up here, I'm not making it up. This is official state contracting document. They are trying to hire somebody to provide this peer support, and they are willing to give an advantage to people on the basis of their gender or their race or ethnicity. That's what we're going to look at next. Let me go to some comments. Yes, yes, yes. This is total racism. Total racism. It gets worse. It gets worse. Yeah, I don't mind veterans having a perk. I really don't. If I lose out to a veteran because they're a veteran and I'm not, I will say thank you for your service, sir. I think you're going to do a fantastic job providing peer support to first responders. Your veteran's background may even give you an edge there. C- Congratulations, good game. We both competed. You got the contract. I support you, sir. My hat, or ma'am, my hat's off to you. I don't have a problem with the veterans advantage. It's not an exemption. Uh, they have this office in Washington State. First of all, this is all. I want to show you this thing. This is all based on because the Supreme Court. There was a case called Richmond, City of Richmond versus J.A. Crossan Company back in 1989, and it was a case that made it to the Supreme Court. The City of Richmond had what's called a minority set-aside program, where they gave a certain amount of contracts to minority businesses. And the Supreme Court ruled that unconstitutional under the Equal Protection Clause. And this is what they said about it. They said that racial quotas for awarding government contracts are not justified by general statistical evidence of inequality. So you can't just show, look, this group has gotten more contracts than this group over a certain period of time. That is not enough to justify awarding contracts to this group that got less. The city did not investigate any race-neutral methods to correct the imbalance, and its 30% goal did not correspond to any actual measured injury. Strict scrutiny, that's a specific legal term, a standard of evaluation, is warranted, and Richmond's laws failed the test. What came out of this case is they ruled that there has to be what's called a compelling interest in doing this kind of affirmative action or racial, non-race neutral, I'm going to call it discrimination, but method of how you award the contracts. There has to be a compelling interest. And what's the other thing? They have to show that, and it has to be very, here, I want to show you this thing. Washington State did this disparate, hey, Beak, they did this disparity study to supposedly, so in Washington State's mind, by doing this study, they've gotten around these loopholes that the law says you're not supposed to do. Government bureaucracy. Okay, right. To be legally enforceable, a race and gender-based program has to meet what's called strict scrutiny, and it has two elements. The government has to establish that it has a compelling interest in remediating race discrimination by current strong evidence of the persistence of discrimination. So they have to prove the discrimination. Now, this is kind of the loophole they're using to prove it. The proof can consist of what's called passive participation. So you don't have to actively discriminate. If you can show that the discrimination exists, just the fact that you are a participant in whatever system is discriminating is enough to constitute evidence. And it has to be narrowly tailored to that discrimination. And um, it has to show that the racial option is required because you've tried all the non-racial options and they didn't work. So Washington State believes that it can demonstrate this through this disparity study. It believes that it meets all of these conditions to allow it to do this race and gender-based discrimination. It believes it has met through two types of proof. That there's statistical evidence, whatever that is, because I have a different standard of evidence than statistical trends. But it believes that statistical evidence of the underutilization of minority or women firms by the agency um, it's a disparity. It can show that the majority of contracts have gone to white men and less of them have gone to minorities and women. Therefore, we believe that that proves that there is discrimination and anecdotal evidence where they talk to the people and they get some of their firsthand experiences of the process. Interviews, surveys, public hearing, academic literature, where you could find anything in academia today that says there's discrimination, judicial decisions, legislative reports, etc. And there's 5 factors it has to meet. That the relief is necessary, the efficacy of race-neutral remedies. The race-neutral remedies did not work. That the relief is flexible and that there's a duration to it. So they have these what's called waiver provisions that they believe provides flexibility to these racist remedies. Um, this is technical number 4, and the impact of the relief on the rights of third parties. So some of this is legal criteria. I want to show some of these. So they ran this study. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of surveys, statistics, and they determined that the majority of contracts went to people that were male with white skin. I guess that's white, whatever white even is these days. Therefore, they are justified in giving these additional points to people that are not white and not male. So again, in the event of a tie, if you all have equal points and you're white and or male and you're up against somebody that's not white and or male, a female or a minority, guess who's getting the contract? I'm not making this up. You can see it for yourself in these documents. I wanted to show some of this anecdotal evidence. Qualitative evidence. Qualitative is the anecdotal stuff. Quantitative is the statistics. Okay, summary of some of the issues discussed. Some minorities believe that racism is more subtle in the Northwest than other parts of the country. That's a belief. That's some people telling you, we think that the racism here is more subtle. That's not evidence. Women often found their business opportunities limited by sexism. According to who? The women themselves think it was sexism? That's not enough. Blacks reported some instances of worksite harassment and bullying. Women experience sexual harassment and hostile work. How can you objectively demonstrate this? A common strategy of women owners was to send men to meetings to mitigate the sexist perceptions. So because the women owners decide to send men to meetings instead, that's taken as evidence that they're at the end of a bias in this contract awarding. And it can cost more money to operate a woman-owned firm with women. Why? Why? Why does it cost more money for women to run businesses with female employees? What is it about their are they like stocking the tampon machine or something? Is that where the extra money's coming in? I want more information on this. Some women felt, see, women's feelings. I knew we were going to get to the real truth soon. Some women felt that the barriers were size and experience rather than gender. and others disagreed. So people surveyed themselves are not even agreeing. Felt that it was gender and color first, and then size, and it's size of the business, like they were a small business. Another thing that came up in this study was that the size and complexity of the requirements of the contract were a barrier themselves. Like it was too complicated and large of a project, and the minorities and women were seeing that as a barrier. We want something easier and less complex that we can tackle and handle. Well, then don't compete for the fucking contract. That's not a gender and race barrier, you idiot. All right. Um, I think that's all I want to show here. So Washington State created this entire office of minority and women. It's called Access Equity. Washington State Office of Minority and Women's Business Enterprises. So we're going to take a look at some of their crap. This office if you're a minority, you can submit your business to this office and have it certified as an official minority business. And this website talks about all the things you need to meet that qualification. There's a federal certification, which is race neutral, and it certifies you according to whether you're economically disadvantaged or not. And then you can get the state certification. And there's two types of disadvantages under the state certification. You can be economically disadvantaged, and or you can be what's called socially disadvantaged. And we're going to look at what constitutes social disadvantage. All right, let me share this. State certification is a program of the state of Washington. Its purpose is to enhance procurement opportunities for certified businesses participating in state-funded projects, et cetera, the type of stuff that I'm wanting to apply for. There's 6 types of state certification. They can certify that you're a business owned by a minority, owned by women, minority women, that's their own category. You can be a business, a WBE, a business enterprise owned by a woman, or you can be an MWBE, a business enterprise owned by a minority woman. Or you can be an MBE, which is just, basically this is a male minority. You're a brown male, this is brown female, this is white female. Or you can be a combination, women minority, socially and economically owned by non-minority men who are found to. So this is, if you're a white male, here's your out. This is your category. You have to prove that there's something about you that still causes you to be socially and economically disadvantaged, and it's judged on a case-by-case basis. So if I decide to go this route, which I've already decided I'm not, but I could get my business certified through this process, and I could use LGBT, that I'm a gay male, and or the autism or mental health stuff, the PTSD, the neurodivergence, ADHD, autism. I could use any of that or all of that to try to prove that even though I'm white or have white skin and I'm male, I have a penis, that I'm still socially and economically disadvantaged because of these other categories. But if you don't have that, if you're able-bodied, neurotypical, heterosexual, good luck finding something that puts you in this category. You are at a disadvantage. I will get the contract over you, even though we're both white and male, because I can find some diversity points in my background to get me this certification, and you can't. I will get those extra 10 points. And then they have what's called economically disadvantaged, which is poor. But the good news is, what they consider economically disadvantaged in Washington State, here, we'll look at it, is like you have to have a certain millions of dollars to be considered not economically disadvantaged. First, let's look at economically disadvantaged. You cannot exceed 2.4 million. So as long as you have under $2 million, you could be considered economically disadvantaged. But look at this social disadvantage category. It's a person subjected to racial or ethnic prejudice or cultural bias. I'm subjected to cultural bias every day in Washington State, being from Louisiana and being Cajun and being Southern. They hate that shit up here. I've had so much cultural bias to overcome the last 16 years of living here. I should qualify on that alone under the ethnic category. Within American society, see how they say American society, not Washington State society, because of his or her identity as a member of a group stemming from circumstances beyond her control. Some persons are presumed to be socially disadvantaged. So if you're any of these groups, you get automatic social disadvantage classification. Black, African American, Hispanic, Latino, Native American, Native Alaskan, Asian. The Asians get it. Pacific Islander or Native Hawaiian. What's missing? White, European, Jewish. The white people. So if you're any of these categories, you automatically get minority certification as a socially disadvantaged individual. Or if you're a woman, any woman, you could be a white woman, you could be a Karen, any any woman will automatically get this status and get those extra 10 points. If you're not any of these things, if you're white and male, you have to have at least one objective distinguishing feature that has contributed to social disadvantage. Your heterosexuality does not count. Your able-bodiedness does not count. Your neurotypicality does not help. There has to be something about you other outside of those categories that they can consider a social disadvantage. And it has to negatively impact your entry into business. Now, here's what I want to know about this process, this disparity in access. Y'all saw the y'all saw the request for proposal, right? I'll show it again. This thing. What stops any minority or woman from applying just like me? Like, what is the barrier to access? Why a woman can pull this up and download it just like I did and look at the requirements and submit a proposal the same as I could. There's nothing about being me being male or white that gives me an advantage in applying for this contract. Nothing. What is the barrier? There's nothing that stops a black person, a Native American person, a Latino, nothing that stops any resident of Washington State from applying for this. If the only qualification they listed was expertise in peer emotional support and peer workforce development, that's it. Anybody that has this should be able to apply for this contract. So where is the barrier? What's stopping them from accessing this opportunity? What? Other than their subjective sense of we felt discrimination in the past, the project is too complex, the size, etc. I don't understand what their argument is for why there are barriers to accessing the contracting process. But because Washington State has convinced itself that the contracts are being awarded to white men and not other people, that constitutes a barrier to access, that they need these extra points when being considered for contracts. That's what I want to know, Zinz, and I tried to hunt for it. They had a lot of statistics on who got awarded contracts. I tried to find who applied for contracts because that seems like it would be important to make their point. I'm not saying it's not in there because that disparity study is like 200 something pages. In fact, let me do a search on the word applied. They're talking about how they've applied methods to the study, but not people applying for. Is submitting a better word? Anyway, so I've searched around and I've tried to find data on who tried to submit the bids. Let's see, state agencies. I couldn't find anything. I could not find information on. Oh wait, am I? Hang on. Have I? What's going on here? Have I been on stage the whole time, or did I just glitch out? I had myself backstage. Right, that's what I'm trying to find out. Like, are women and minorities, what is their rate of even applying? Maybe the disparity is because they're not applying for the contracts in the first place. And there was some things about how the application process itself could be considered a barrier, like in some of that anecdotal stuff. And so, like one of the things this point system is an attempt to remedy that, and this Office of Minority Business, but they talked about like pre-bid support and like to help people to bid on the contract in the first place. I don't have a problem with that, but it should be open to everybody. If somebody's having difficulty bidding for the contract for some reason, maybe they can offer some support or some workshops or like an educational, like a Zoom call where they give you information on how to apply, because the process itself is it's like kind of like grant writing. You have to dot, they're very particular about what I's and T's get dotted. I wouldn't have a problem with that. If I can use it too, or a straight white man that wants to bid says, I don't understand the process, I need help with it. That's not what they're offering. They're giving extra points to people just on the basis of their gender or their skin color, their member in a racial or ethnic group. And that's their solution for overcoming this perceived disparity but in the application process itself. I would also like to know who is applying for these contracts. And if the women and the minorities are not applying in the first place, then why is this necessary? But if they are applying and not get it awarding, like if an equal or relatively equal number, because also there may be less minorities in a state like Washington, which is majority white. There just may not be enough just statistically enough minorities to apply. But let's presume. Let me look at the demographics of Washington State. I mainly did this episode because I'm tired of people gaslighting and telling me that it's not happening and it's in my imagination. Because I definitely see a contract request saying that they're going to give 10 extra points when they're going to say they're saying this is how we're going to determine who gets the contract. It's this point system, and if you are a female or a minority, you will get 10 extra points. Hang on, I'm looking for the demographics of Washington State. All right, here we go. According to the 2020 census, Washington State is, what does alone or total mean? 63 to 70% white. I don't know how they're presenting these statistics because they have a column that says alone and a column that says total, and I don't know what that means. I'll use the total column. 70% white, 13% Hispanic, 12% Asian, 5% black, 3% native, 1.5% Pacific Islander. So let's say that they get applications. 70% of the bids are from white people, 13% are from, and they don't even break it down by gender actually. I can't find the gender demographics. But let's just say that they get applications in the same proportion as exist in Washington State. But 90% of the contracts are going to white people, and less of them are going. Let's say that's where the disparity is. There's so many other reasons that that could be than discrimination that to me they should be required to exhaust and eliminate all other factors and explanations that could be contributing instead of making the assumption that there's this percent of this race, but the contracts are out of proportion to that, even though the application rates are the same. I suspect the application rates don't even match these numbers. Just knowing what I know about Washington State and living here as long as I have, I suspect that the minorities are not even applying at the same rates as the non-minorities, which means white. And Donald Trump did that executive order on meritocracy. You're supposed to go by at the federal level, but it did not trickle to the state level of Washington State, and it's probably not going to because they're very like digging in and defiant of Trump and trying to protect what they see as the opposite of Trump, which is this crap. Well, actually, that's from Wikipedia. I was getting the demographics from Wikipedia. There may be other sources out there. In fact, let me look. Gender demographics for Washington State. Distribution of Oh, this is from the state itself. They give it. Um, but they don't give percentages. And they do it by age groups. Let me find another website. U.S. Census Bureau. They do it by age group. They don't. There's like people under 18, over 18, under 65, over 65. I just want to know females. How many vaginas do we have walking around and how many penises? That's all I want to know. What's the male female ratio of Washington State? Okay, here we go. Nope, they're still doing it by age group. All right, total population is 50% male, 49%. It's 50-50. So it's more or less equal number of males and females. So then you just get into the minority stuff. All right, I think I have I didn't this is a rabbit hole and I didn't go too far down it because it gets very technical and detailed, especially that disparity study that it all rests on. It was done by this firm that specializes in this kind of law and making sure the study stays exactly in the parameters of what's required by law to pass this strict scrutiny. So Washington State paid this firm to put together this study and trusted that the firm's doing it in a way that's going to meet strict scrutiny. I personally think that there's room to challenge it. I want to see more detail of why this race-based point system is necessary, like why this race and gender-based solution is necessary. I'm not convinced that they've shown that the discrimination that they say exists actually exists and that there's not other solutions to it, so they have to resort to race and gender-based solutions, especially looking at some of the anecdotal stuff. Because it seems a lot of like we feel like we believe that in our subjective experience this is happening, but I want something more than just that. And I also want to know how many people are applying for these contracts in the first place from the minority and female groups. All right, I'm going to drop the link and we'll get a panel going. All All right, there you go. Come on up. But the whole point of this, and I don't want you to miss it, is that this stuff exists and it's happening. Straight white male, I mean white male, I guess straight white males, because if you're gay, you could try for that other category. White males are at a disadvantage in 2025 in some areas, in some context. It is happening. There is race and sex based discrimination against white males at the state level, like official discrimination, not just private businesses doing it. Now, I don't know if other states have something similar. I've only encountered this in Washington state from me trying to apply for this contract. So, what I've decided to do is not go for that certification. I could get those extra points. I have no doubt I could get my business, my whole business serves, it serves men, but it serves neurodivergent men. It serves autistic, ADHD, gifted, and other forms of neurodivergence. So because the business itself, me and the business are all geared toward a minority population, I have no doubt I could get that certification. I don't want that to be the reason I get the contract. I want to get the contract because I am going to be the best person to develop these peer support policies that they're looking to be developed for first responders. I know what peer support looks like in Washington State, and I know that I can meet and exceed the standards that they're looking for. I know it. I give some of the best peer support in Washington State, and I could say that confidently relative to what I see coming out of these state programs. I'm willing to put my peer support against anybody's if any day. Put me in a room, give me some first responders, put the other candidates in a room, give them some, and see who comes up with the best peer support policies. I am willing to take on that challenge. Same with DEI. I've said it over and over, and I stand by it. Put me in a room with a classroom with some people that you're trying to integrate into the workforce, like diverse people, and put a DEI educator next to me, and we're going to see who pulls off the best integration. What's wrong with my wardrobe? I like this. You're not going to do this to me today, Alan. I'm not falling for your queer eye today. I like my wardrobe. I like the green. I like the shirt. The shade matches the green perfectly. And it's the perfect outfit for today's topic because Washington is the evergreen state. And I'm dressed in evergreen. It's plaid. I will not be gaslighted about my wardrobe today, not even by a gay. Winter Wonderland. It can be. We're coming into spring. We're moving out of winter and coming into spring. So this color is still appropriate. I like it. I'm wearing it. You can dress however you want today, but I like my outfit and I'm keeping it on. And it goes with the antlers. So there. Check back in. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like it too. Cause you know me, some outfits I'm not sure about. I'm iffy on. I don't really like match fabric patterns as well as I do other things. But today that is not the case. I am very confident that I have this outfit matched and it fit. It's appropriate. I dressed myself like the Garanimals growing up. We had the Garanimal. I did. That's how I learned to dress. I'd be dressing even worse today without granimals. Because I was dressing myself at a very early age. My mom didn't once she said I was very independent as a kid, even as a baby. She said I was off the bottle very early. I was sleeping in my own bed very early. I was dressing myself. I was tying my shoe early. Like anything I could do for myself as a toddler, she said I met those milestones very, very early. And so she didn't have to dress me. She didn't spend a lot of time fussing over me. She had the garanimals I had a dresser with the clothes in it, and I would go every morning and I would pull out some pants and some shirts and I would match the tags. If the hippo matched with the hippo, then it was a match. If the elephant matched with the elephant, then you could wear them together. And as soon as I figured out how to do that, I was good. Yeah, I was. I was my mom's first child. I was the oldest. But my sister was after me, and she developed socially way earlier than I did. And like as far as picking up on like knowing what was going on around her with people and picking up on social and psychological motivations, and she is light years ahead of me on that. I was the nerd. I was the book smart. I could read early. I could do math. I did really well at school. I brought home the A's. I was very book smart, but I was not people smart. And my sister was very, very people smart. She would amaze me. Like she was my younger sister, but she would amaze me at her insight into what was going on with people and the grown-ups. Like she understood the grown-ups better than they understood themselves, and that would let us know what we could get away with as kids. Me too. I want adult granimals too. Meantime, I have Alan. He's my he is my granimal, my gay ranimal. So yeah, I oh, let me see what you typing down there. Oh, okay, I see it. Well, anyway, let's check the news. I haven't looked. Actually, I looked earlier, but it was the same old stuff. Something about Trump thinking he's going to do a third term, which I can't believe. I can't believe after this many years, people don't know what to take seriously out of Trump's mouth and what not to. New tariffs, Liberation Day tariff plan, sweeping tariffs. He's escalating the trade war. Oh, the French lady, Marine Le Pen, got convicted for embezzlement. She's going to jail. I saw that. Severe weather headed for the south. Um, that's really all I see. Kind of more of the same type of news. Tomorrow's April Fool's. We'll be doing it. I guess we'll do an April Fool's stream. I might do. Maybe I'll let the trolling happen tomorrow. And it's April Fool's. I'll give one day of trolling and drama. That's about all this channel could take for the year. I was gonna do. There's this article on this Substack article that I came across today on the woke right, and I want to go over it not so much because of the woke right, but they analyze 12 factors that contribute to or influenced the growth of the woke right, and I want to look at those because they're the same factors that contribute and influence any political movement, I think. And I think looking at what causes these political movements to emerge could be useful and interesting. And so I wanted to use this article and go over those 12 factors. But I might save that for Wednesday and do an April Fool's stream. Drama and troll free for all. It's kind of like Mardi Gras or like those festivals where you get a day to party and get stuff out of your system. I think it's healthy to have that little release valve once a year. Just maybe only once a year. So that's a good idea. What happens on April 2nd? So let the trolls know. Put the message out in Discord. Now there are limits to it. There are some people that are still not gonna participate. The extreme trolls that I have on my ban list, they're not coming off of it. But everyone else that's kind of been restraining and behaving and following the guidelines and stuff, tomorrow you can engage in a little more trolling than I normally allow. You can get the trolling out tomorrow. Oh, the Terrafin. Oh, wait, Alan. Are you saying he couldn't do it on April 1st because it's April Fool's Day and people wouldn't know whether to take him seriously or not? They should treat every day with Trump as though it was April Fool's. I'm being completely serious. That is the best way to interpret Trump. Is just pretend like it's April the 1st every single day he opens his mouth or says something. And I think you'll have a lot more realistic sense of what to expect if you do that than if you take him seriously. All right, let's see if I have anything else. Maybe I have some tweets. Nope. No new tweets. It's kind of a slow day today, it looks like. What is it, Tuesday? Monday? Monday. Oh, happy Monday. My days are all thrown off because I don't have a normal work week. I just get random days off whenever. Well, what the news seems like they're already announcing it, or they already have some idea of what's coming. So he's just gonna make maybe April 2nd we can watch his live announcement and analyze it. Tomorrow we can troll and do drama, and then you know what? Let's look at the origin of April Fool's Day and see what the actual spirit of it is. It's an annual celebration. What's origins? Many theory. The exact origin is not known. Wow, they think it could go all the way back to Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, back in the 1300s. In the nun's priest tale, a vain cock, Chanticleer, is tricked by a fox. Since March began, full 30 days and two, which is the 32nd day of March, which would be April 1st. However, it's not clear that he was referencing April 1st, since the text also states that the story takes place on the day when the sun is in the sign of Taurus, 20 degrees and 1, which would not be April 1st. So, okay, let's leave Chaucer out of it and go to the 1500s. French poet Eloy d'Amerville referred to Poisson d'avril, which is April fish. It's the Some historians suggest it originated because in the Middle Ages, New Year's was celebrated on the 25th of March, with a holiday that ended on April 1st. Man, this goes way, way back. April Fools is traced through every country of Europe to the Hindus. Oh, this was somebody wrote in 1895. This is their theory. William Ralston Balch wrote that it's of Jewish origin. and he says it begun from the mistake of Noah in sending out the dove from the ark before the water had completely subsided, like dried up. On the first day of the month among the Hebrews, which is the first of April, what happened with the dove? Isn't that the one that brought back the olive? Because didn't he send out a bunch of other birds and they never came back? And then he sent the dove, and they it brought back the olive tree leaf, and then that's how he knew that there was land, that all the flood waters were, or like some of them were gone. First, he sent out a raven, but the raven does not return. And so he waits 7 days, and he sends out a dove, and it does return. But it doesn't return with anything. So he waits another week, and he sends out the bird a second time, and then it comes back with the olive leaves. So is that the mistake? Because this is all symbolism. It doesn't actually mean, it's, what does it mean? But so he sent it out the first time and it came back empty, and so they're calling that a mistake, and that they're tying it to a Jewish origin of April Fools. And then he sends the dove out a third time, and it doesn't come back at all. The raven is an unclean bird, is considered to be a symbol of evil. Well, why was it even on the ark in the first place? Well, anyway, that's one of the things. Hey, shift, April fish. Yeah, poisson d'avril. I don't know. He kept sending the same dove. Weren't there only? I thought there was two doves. I thought there was two of everything. That's what they told us in catechism class and on Schoolhouse Rock. Because that's how they were teaching multiplication. They have what's the song? 2 by 2 is 4. Uh, Noah had it was about Noah's Ark, and he put two of the animals of each kind on the ark, and they would count the animals by twos, and that's how you learn to multiply by twos. 40 days and 40 nights didn't it rain, children? Um, didn't it rain? Noah built that ark so tight. Let me get the lyrics. And he landed that ark on Mount Ararat. Elementary, my dear. That's what it's called. 40 days and 40 nights did it rain, children. Not a speck of land in sight. Did it rain. Yep, he did. He built the ark tight. Noah built the ark so tight they sailed on, children. And when at last the waters receded and the dove brought back the olive tree leaf, he landed that ship near Mount Ararat. And one of his children grabbed Noah's robe and said, "Hey, Dad, how many animals on this old ark anyway?" Elementary, my dear, 2 times 2 is 4. Elementary, my dear, 2 times 3 is 6. Elementary, my dear. And then they would count the animals. So see, the Bible does have value. It can be very educational. Oh, getting back to April Fools. Why is that DEI? Speaking of fool, um, I want to see the modern. Like, what are you supposed to do on April Fools? That's what I'm trying to find out. It's it says one. Oh my God, have y'all heard of this one? It says one common prank is to carefully remove the cream from an Oreo and then replace it with white toothpaste and make toothpaste Oreos and give the people. No. That's not even a prank. That's beyond prank. That's cruel. That's sadism. Or you could replace it with sour cream. You don't know what people's food sensitivities are. You shouldn't be playing with people's food in the first place, trying to get them to eat stuff that you don't know they can even eat. It says April Fools can be good for one's health because it encourages jokes, hoaxes, pranks, and belly laughs and brings all the benefits of laughter. That's what we'll do tomorrow. We'll laugh and cut up and troll and do drama, and we'll do the adult version. But I wanted. Let me ask the AI. See what it has to say. What is April Fool's Day? Help this poor human out. I'm trying to understand it. What should we be doing tomorrow? It's a day dedicated to practical jokes, pranks, and hoaxes. People play tricks on friends, family, coworkers, and even the public. The victims of these pranks are often called April Fools. We'll see who's the biggest fool of all tomorrow. That's what we'll do. By the end of the stream, we should have an idea of who is the channel's biggest fool, if not the biggest fool in the panelverse. Yeah, tomorrow for April Fool at IG. I'm going to allow trolling and drama. As long as it does it, there's going to be some rules. It's not unlimited. It can't get malicious. It can't cross over into personal life. People's families are still off limit. People's personal information, all of that is still off limit. But I will allow a little more trolling and drama than I normally do. Well, isn't that wonderful, not less? Both of you? What are y'all gonna name it? What does that make it? A brother? A sister? What gender is it? You can do your mama jokes. I love your mama jokes. Let's see, what else? What can we do? Spontaneous fun, it says. Personal pranks, corporate pranks, media, swapping sugar with salt, fake spiders, trick emails. That sounds, in this day and age, trick emails sounds dangerous. It's about harmless fun, although some pranks can go too far. How can I incorporate drama and trolling into the event? You could make it playful, entertaining, and maybe even thought provoking. Yeah. Oh, it's telling me stuff that for me to play on y'all, so I can't really tell you any of this. That's not really what I meant when I asked it. It says stage drama, controlled chaos. We already have enough of that. I think most of this drama is staged. Troll your audience. Look at this is the troll it suggests. Set up an impossible to follow discussion topic. Today we will finally settle whether free will exists once and for all. Now come on, is that a troll y'all would fall for? Maybe I can get some kind of guest, like troll guest. That's funny, not lost. A surprise troll guest. Who could I get? Who's a good troll? Who would make a good troll guest? They come anyway, like for free. I don't even have to have a special event for them. Strange guest appearance. Oh my God, the AI said the same thing. Introduce a mystery guest who turns out to be an AI voice, a sock puppet, or a pre-recorded loop. I think some of these are pre-recorded loops actually. Um, and it says if you're known for being serious, go full chaos. Maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow. Full chaos. I'm getting excited. This speaks to my satanic nature. I know, huh? You put shit on Oreos. It says toothpaste. You can do sour cream. Any other white stuff you could think of that is believable. So that rules out what most people are probably jumping to. Um, I have some white toothpaste right here. Hand lotion, facial cleanser. Um, that's all I see. And I'm sure there's stuff in the kitchen cabinets too. But I don't even eat Oreos. I don't have. If somebody offered me some Oreos, I wouldn't even take them in the first place. Mike, you save that for tomorrow because we're doing. In fact, you can come up and help be master of ceremonies. It's April Fool's tomorrow, so we're gonna do drama and trolling and chaos. We're gonna let our inner trolls out and play. But it can't get ugly and personal and hateful, and it can't go offline into personal life, family life, no doxing, that kind of stuff. It has to stay within online limits. Wait, this is a teaser, but you'll have to save it for tomorrow. I I wonder if we can get away. We won't be able to get away with that on YouTube, will we? Although some people have pretty much already tried. Yeah! Oh my God, Mike! I would love glowing horns. I want some antlers that glow now. You talking about like glow red, like they're hot, heated up like a hot poker? You can't you can't expose people's personal information though. So whatever going dark means, it can't mean that. Can we make a bat wing that an AI can't detect? We'll test the AI's power of perception. Can you sneak your bat wing past the AI? What if that's like a new identification system instead of eye scans and facial recognition? They determine that bat wings are more foolproof and accurate. Everybody has their own pattern of veins. Maybe we are headed for a dystopian future after all. Oh, I forgot one other thing on that topic I did earlier on the racial discrimination. I also had a conversation with the AI and I asked it if it was um, a form of discrimination, and it says yes. Awarding extra points to minority-owned businesses in a contracting process is a form of preferential treatment based on race or other protected characteristics. And it goes on to say whether it legally constitutes discrimination depends on the jurisdiction and legal framework governing the contract process. And so Washington State is trying to say that because of this strict scrutiny thing, it does meet the requirements within that legal framework. But I seriously believe that a good lawyer could challenge that and get it knocked out. The industry does what? Bat wings are legal discrimination. I would, I would, I would want to hear more. Not less. The running of the bulls. They do have the New Orleans has the running of the bulls, but it's people. It's people in like bull horns or something. Let me look it up. They also have the red dress run, where everybody, including the big burly men, put on their red. They said the month of the dress run, you can't find any red dresses in any stores because everybody, they sell out. New Orleans running of the bulls. Oh, it's roller. Yeah, let me show you what it is. It's roller derby, and they put on horns, bull horns. Look, it's this. Wait, do they have pictures? It's like human bulls. I'll try to find better photos. Yeah, this stuff. Oh, page not found. Well, why is it on Google? They don't have actual bulls though. Um, it's interesting that in that website I looked at, the official Washington State Office of Minority and Women Business Enterprises, that disability was not one of the categories. But it had this like catch-all category where you, if you could prove you had something that put you at a social disadvantage, but it was done on a case-by-case basis. So you could probably still use disability, but it wasn't an automatic certification like ethnicity and gender was. Alan's not putting a saddle on me. He doesn't even seem like the saddle up type. He might try to put a kilt. Yeah, Lou, what? Oh, shit. I see it's doing it again. Now, when I share stuff, it's putting me in a little box instead of. Oh, thank you, IG. That'll help. Get the word out in Discord. Tomorrow, the trolls can. It's April Fools. The trolls are welcomed for this one day. It's gonna be like Fantasia, Night on Bald Mountain, where they summon all the little demons and ghosts and skeletons out of the grave. They're welcome here tomorrow. They can come and troll, but they have to stay within my rules. I have a feeling that my fingers are going to get very sore from having to use the block button all day. And that will start at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I do not have a rainbow lasso. It's gold glitter. I would love it. It's light. I want one made of light, like in what's that movie? Is it 9 to 5? Or Barbara? What's the movie where they have like a glowing lasso? I want that one. Like rope lights. Um, yeah, it well, I always start unless they go malicious or personal right away. I always usually start with a timeout and and then I ban. Welcome, Frank. Frank, why don't you be my special guest tomorrow? Tomorrow is April Fools, and we're gonna have Troll Day. Like all the trolls could come and troll. It's gonna be the day for trolling. I can't imagine that you're not gonna want to be here. Wonder Woman had a glowing lasso. I remember she had the invisible jet plane because I used to watch Linda Carter. I used to watch that show growing up, and Shazam. All right. Well, that takes care of tomorrow. Now we got to find something to do today to finish the day out. Oh, let me see. I'm gonna look it up, Helena. I trust your knowledge of pop culture, though, very much. In fact, what Lasso of Truth? Um, what year was the Linda Carter one? It says 1978. Let's see. 1975 to 1979. Yeah, that sounds about right. She's 73 years old. Oh yeah, here's a picture of it. It's like painted gold. This one, Magic Lasso. This is a replica. Why does it keep saying the images are denied? Look at that. How can you get more elegant? This is peak style, y'all. Look at that. There's no way to improve on this. None. It was the 70s actually. Well, Frank, you could come do that here. You can clip your toenails while you troll. I have never used a penis lasso, no. Um, Probably never will. Do they sell those at the leather store? The kink store? You know what? I'm gonna Google it just to see. They probably make them. Oh no, I'm getting porn. You know how they give you the porn images? Oh God. Oh, Shift, you always make me Google the most fucked up stuff. Bex should come too. I think Bex would appreciate Troll Day. Are y'all like dating now or something? See, it did it again. I can't handle this StreamYard default thingy. Why doesn't it put you back to how you started before you shared the screen? Like, what content creator is going to want to have their layout changed every time they share something? Well, I hate her as well, from the deeply from the heart. Hate and love are opposite sides of the same emotion. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between the two. In fact, I hate her so much, I think we're going to watch a movie together later. You're welcome to join. It'll probably be a gay movie, though. You might want to save your tolerance reserves for tomorrow. I love hula hoop. I was in a when I lived in New Orleans, I was part of a hula hoop group, and we were gonna start our own Mardi Gras crew called Crew de Hoop, and we were gonna walk in the parades, spinning our hula hoops, and we made hula hoops and we decorated them. But the crew itself never ended up getting off the ground. But I did make a hula hoop. We used to go to City Park and hoop in the park together. All right, take care, Frank. Tell her I say hi, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Not seafood gumbo, I'll tell you that. Maybe sausage gumbo. Not even chicken anymore. Yes, I'm sure. Tell us all about it, not less. Come up on panel. All right. Well, if there's no panel today, I might wrap up early. I don't know what else to do. You can't talk about woman all day. Speaking of gumbo, you know RuPaul is named for Ru. That's what his name means. It's Ru, because he's from he has roots in Louisiana, and his mama named him RuPaul to honor that. You better work, sashay away, and don't fuck it up, girl. Oh, grrr. I can't. There's two things they do. They tongue pop, and they do the little oh grrr, oh grrr. But the tongue pop is like wait. I'm gonna try to find some tongue pops on YouTube because I'm not a good tongue popper. But they'll like read somebody or throw shade, and then they'll like that at the end of it for emphasis. Alyssa Edwards does good tongue pops. Let me find one from her. She's known for her tongue pops. Um, I wonder if I get copyrighted for 6 seconds of RuPaul. That's not a good tongue pop. That was a horrible tongue pop. Why is that one of the top results? Okay, here's some. I'm gonna risk it. This is I need to educate the public. Alan is getting hot. All right, here's the tongue pop.
Sickening and stupid, and you all care.
Yeah. So the Queen's tongue pop, and they do the little oh, oh. I hope I don't get copyrighted for a tongue pop. The Hulk. Oh, I remember the Hulk with Lou Ferrigno and David. What was his name? David Banner, Bruce Banner. But who was the actor? Fuck, Bill Bixby. I used to watch that too. You've met Michelle Visage. Wait, okay, Alan, hang on. This is breaking news. You've met Michelle Visage, and oh, did you go to DragCon? Is that how you met him? Um, and which queens did you meet? I met Latrice Royale. I have a video of. I think I told that story at Pride. They had these queens drive around in limos, and they would randomly stop and get out of the limo and start dancing and performing. And you could take pictures with them. And me and my friend were walking down the sidewalk, and Latrice Royale, a limo stopped, and Latrice Royale got out and started dancing and singing. And I went up and I got a picture with her. Stop, Mike. I have a video of it somewhere. Oh, play background like StreamYard music. I, you know what? If Alyssa wants to copyright me, I'll fight her. Let me try to find my Latrice video. Um, oh my god, they take forever to load. Oh, is this it? Oh, it has copyright music to it. I can play it without I can play it on mute. It's kind of hard to see, but I can play it on mute. Um, how do I do this? Wait, why? Oh, here it is. Okay, we'll see if this works. There she is. And then I walked up to her. I'm like, oh my God, I love you. Can I have a picture with you? And she's like, sure, baby. And she posed. I have it somewhere. All right, how do I stop sharing? There we go. And I'm back to. You met Laganja? Who? Gia who? Manila? Oh, Trixie. Yeah. I used to watch Trixie and Katya's little YouTube show. They haven't done it in a while. What's it called? Uh-huh. That one. Which one is Gia? Oh, Gia, little Asian Gia. Yeah, I remember her. She was, uh, she was kind of obnoxious sometimes, a little hard to take. All right, well, that's all I have really. Maybe we can end the stream and rest up for tomorrow, and get it. Come bring our best troll. I don't think I'm gonna have any trouble tomorrow getting the trolling off the ground. The challenge is keeping it in bounds. I'm gonna feel like a cop at Mardi Gras. They ride around on horseback, and they have to keep the crowd like can't let it get too out of control. Okay, save some for me, IG. I might need some myself. We'll see what happens. That's what we'll do. I'll end today's stream, and tomorrow it will be April Fools. All the trolls come out and spread the word, spread the message on Discord. Get all the drama crew over here. 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and we'll do April Fool's Day. We'll all act a fool together. Communal trolling and drama. In the meantime, peace out. Have a great rest of your day. And see you then.